Director of Membership Services here at the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance, and I'm joined today by Jim Sarro of Muhlenberg Greene Architects. Jim is a project architect, and I want to say thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to go ahead and dive right in, and I'm going to ask about a project that was recently in the news, and it's the project at 503 Penn Street. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that project and what Muhlenberg Greene's involvement is in the project?
Yeah, the project at 503 Penn Street, located right down the street here at the corner of 5th and Penn, is a renovation to an existing building, four-story building, originally built in the 1890s.
Oh, wow.
And it was originally a three-story building that was expanded to a four-story building sometime in the early 1900s, so there's a lot of history involved with the building. We were asked by John Weinhammer, who wanted to renovate the building, as a bit of a catalyst to help revitalize the downtown Reading area.
Okay.
So we were tasked with taking this turn-of-the-century building, bringing it up to a modern, usable state, while still maintaining the existing character of the building. The building's located in the Calico Historic District, so we had to go through HARB approval for the building, including windows, doors, materials. We had to go through that process. The interior of the building we brought up to modern standards, including an elevator, stairs, to make it more a usable space for today's tenants. We did try to preserve the interior of the building, a lot of the existing architecture. There was a lot of the existing brick that's exposed, 100-year-old brick, wood floors, exposed wood beams. So we tried to maintain the character of this building and make it usable for today's standards.
What is the anticipated use for that building?
Currently, the first floor has been leased out to the Reading Distilling Guild and Chris Flowers, so it was always intended to be a retail type restaurant use. So we did work with Chris on a design for the first floor. I believe he's late summer looking to move in to the space. We do have other people interested in the second through fourth floors. They're more going to be, the second floor is going to be more of try to be an extension of the first floor use with the restaurant as a hospitality area with offices on the third and fourth floors.
Nice. Excellent. So you mentioned that this building is in the Calico Historic District.
Correct.
What are some of the challenges in working on a historic property?
There's a lot of challenges in working with historic property. The HARB regulations dictate that the building maintain the character of its original design. In this case, there was original windows that needed to be replaced, but we still had to maintain the original detailing.
So the look and character.
The character of the building needs to remain the same, even down to colors.
Wow.
So we had to do a lot of research into the existing detailing, what we could do to match that, but still meet today's energy codes and energy standards. We had several meetings with HARB and several iterations of our designs for the facade of the building. And got their blessing.
Awesome, awesome. What's one of the most fun parts about working on a historic building like that?
I find the most fun part is the unknown.
Really?
I mean, you have an idea of what's going to be there, but you don't really know what's going to be.
So like you tear down part of a wall,
you tear down a wall, you don't know what's going to be there. One of the fun things we found out about the building was the fourth floor was the Reading Electric Light Company back in the 1920s. Back then, you didn't just go to Home Depot or someplace to buy an electric light. You had to go to this place in Reading, and they had to make a light for you.
Oh, wow.
And as we were tearing the walls down, we found business cards stuck in the walls.
Oh, wow.
Little pieces of the tools that the guys used to create the lamps.
So when you find things like that, what do y'all do with those materials?
We worked with the owner, and he has a lot of that.
All right, so you kind of give it back.
We kind of give it back. It's neat. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
I found a sticker on the wall from 1913 that I tried to take off, but it was a little brittle, and I couldn't quite get it off all the way.
That's pretty amazing, though, to do that. So, what other projects has Muhlenberg Greene been involved in?
With our history, we've been around for almost 100 years now, so we've done a lot of work in the downtown Reading area. Many of the buildings in the area here, at one point or another, we've had our hands in. We also do a lot of work in the surrounding areas for a lot of school districts, universities.
Excellent. Well, and that brings me to my next question is, so what kind of clients use an architects? I think the average person like myself tends to think of big jobs like a hospital or a university. What kinds of businesses typically employ an architect?
Anybody can use an architect. It doesn't have to be a business, it can be individuals as well. Any building, any structure that you see in your area that you walk into, an architect is involved with.
Right, okay.
From the planning of it, the designing of it, to the construction of it.
Okay.
We've been involved.
And does that include, that I assume includes things like renovations and bringing stuff up to code and modernizing buildings as well?
Renovations, modernizing, if you're moving into a space, we can help you modernize it, but it's also maintenance items. We also do a lot of, there's window leaks, there's roof leaks, there's maintenance items like that that need to be investigated and fixed. And it's not only big clients, it's homeowners as well.
Okay.
I helped a homeowner I know who was having issues with her basement wall. Okay. So I went and we looked at it, got some ideas for her, and kind of helped her come up with some solutions.
Because I wouldn't have thought about calling an architect
right.
if you were having a problem with your basement wall.
Yeah.
You kind of think about, oh, I need to find a brick guy or a concrete guy, but okay.
But if you don't know what the problem is, you don't know what to fix.
That's a really good point.
Right.
So now you brought up, I know Muhlenberg Greene has been a GRC member for almost 75 years. Y'all been around, it'll be 100 years, I believe, next June, 2020, correct?
Correct.
Congratulations, that's pretty
Thank
awesome. To what do you attribute Muhlenberg Greene's longevity? I mean, for any business to be around for 100 years is incredible. What do you think has helped y'all last?
It's communications. We're partnering with our clients.
Okay.
You get to know them, know what their needs are, and continually develop that relationship with them. The whole business is based on relationships.
Okay.
We have a certain expertise. The clients need to know that you're their advocate.
Right.
They can come to you for advice. They can come to you for thoughts on what can I do with this, what can I do for that. Not just the big jobs, but also just to talk.
Do you have an idea what percentage of your business roughly is repeat business?
We're about 80% of our business is repeat business right now. So we have a lot of clients who know us and trust us and come back to us.
All right, so trick question, what percentage of that has been around for 100 years?
I haven't been around for 100 years, so I don't know.
Well, that would be interesting, though. I would assume that you probably do have some clients, though, if they haven't been around for 100 years, have probably been around for a good bit of the journey.
We definitely have some clients that have been around for a very long time.
How do you think, how has Muhlenberg Greene seen business evolve over 100 years?
The business of architecture has, it's a tough business. I mean, it's a very tough business. So between the changing codes and changing design styles, you constantly have to adapt. And
that's kind of where communications
comes in. You have to adapt and be willing to listen to what the client's needs are, and also just be aware of the latest trends. What are the new finishes, new construction techniques? The building codes are constantly changing, so being up to date with the items like that as well.
Nice.
And sustainability has been a big topic over the last couple of years.
And that's something you hear a lot, like LEED certified, and that means that basically the building is built with sustainable materials, or
the LEED process is a whole certification process that goes through the building. There's the USGBC would be the people that kind of certify your building. As there's various levels of LEED, but there's also things we can do to the building, sustainable design features that don't necessarily need LEED. Yeah.
But they kind of bring the building into the modern era of being environmentally conscious,
which 503 is a perfect example of that. You know, we're adapting an existing building for today's uses. So we're not tearing something down to build something new. We're taking what we have and reusing it.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So what special plans, if any, does Muhlenberg Greene have for the 100th year anniversary?
We are planning a event next year.
Okay, excellent.
So I would ask that your viewers stay tuned. We will have more information coming in later this year for our 100th anniversary.
I think that's fantastic.
We're proud.
And you should be. I mean, again, for a business to be around that long and for 80% of your business to be repeat at that, I mean, that says a lot about Muhlenberg Greene and the kind of work you do and the kind of organization you are. So again, kudos on that anniversary coming up. So personally, and I know we talked a bit before the interview, and you're a Berks County native. As an architect, what is your favorite piece of architecture in Reading or Berks County?
I like the older buildings, and I really like that intersection of 5th and Penn. There's a lot of old buildings right in that area. There's a lot of character that's built into those buildings through the detailing that you just don't always see nowadays.
Right.
The buildings start to take on their own personality, the personality of the designer, or the personality of the occupants.
Okay.
And you start to say a name, oh, it's such and such building, and you get a vision in your head.
People know what it is.
People know what that is immediately.
Excellent. And if I can ask, what drew you to the field of architecture?
Legos.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I was always building things, and I like to figure out how to put things together.
Okay.
So, architecture is a big puzzle.
All right.
People come to us with an issue or an idea, and we have to work through the solution.
Excellent. So after the 503 project, what's the next historical project possibly on the horizon for Muhlenberg Greene?
We have several items we're talking about. I don't know how many I can completely talk about at this time.
Understood. Is there a particular, though, I guess maybe without putting you on the spot to name a particular project, I guess, is there a particular desire, though, to continue doing types of projects like 503 Penn
Absolutely.
Street?
I think with our history in Reading and our knowledge of the area and our longevity here, we could be beneficial for any of the buildings in the downtown area. We have experience with the city officials, with the requirements for the various historic districts.
Excellent.
We've done it in the past, and we
Great.
can do it again.
Yeah, and like I said, you just said this, it sounds like you have a good relationship with the city and with the HARB. What is that for our viewers?
HARB stands for the Historic Architectural Review Board.
Okay.
So they set forth a set of standards that you need to follow and meet.
Okay.
It's the Department of Interior actually sets the standards, and then each municipality has their own historic review board.
Okay.
And most of them adopt these standards.
But those standards don't necessarily stand in the way of modernizing.
No, they don't stand in the way, but you just have to make sure you're meeting the intent of what HARB wants to do, which is maintain the historic character of the areas.
Excellent.
So it's a definite balancing act you need to walk.
But it is nice to come to an area like Reading and see some of the older buildings and know that there are companies like Muhlenberg Greene who are dedicated to maintaining that while at the same time making them fit for modern businesses and modern usage.
That's what we strive for at Muhlenberg Greene.
Excellent. Well, one block at a time, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Jim. We appreciate you coming out. We're looking forward to hearing more about 501 Penn. And looking forward to hearing more about that 100-year celebration. We're looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you for having me.